Perfect. Recording started. All right. Happy Tuesday, everybody.
Yeah.
Hopefully, most of you are getting the same kind of sunshine I am. Because boy,
Yes,
is
it's
it
a lovely
beautiful.
day.
It's lovely.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Not in Toronto, it's rainy.
Oh, well,
Oh.
we send you some of our sunshine. All right, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Just some quick reminders before we begin. First is just make sure you have a nice clear space to exercise in, nothing to step on or trip over. I tend to keep my equipment to the side. Good idea to have a water bottle close by. If you have an inhaler, you should have it close by just in case you need it. And an oximeter, that little clip you put on your finger to measure your oxygen, that's also a good idea to keep close by. Everyone goes at their own pace. That's super, super important. And then just a reminder that this is a recorded virtual class. Any noise on your end, we can all hear. So if you've got a phone call, someone comes into the same room, just put yourself on mute. And if you've got a question, a comment, please unmute yourselves and have at it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to get started with is getting into our breathing pattern. And what we're going to do today is you're either going to lift up a straight arm. Now, for any of you that have a sore shoulder or neck where that overhead movement hurts, you can just lift through the elbow. Okay, so that's a shorter lever, less stress on the shoulder. But we're going to breathe in as we lift up and out through pursed lips to bring that hand back down. Switching arms, so breathe in and lift. Breathe out through pursed lips, like you're lowering down. And again, now remember that exhale, pretend you have a line of candles in front of you. You got to blow them all out. So blow out all the candles. Perfect. Breathe in, breathe out the candles. 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 Now let's start lifting opposite arm, opposite knee. Again, breath in as you lift both up, breathing out as you bring them back down. Good. Breathe in and out. Good. Breathe in and out. Couple more on each side. Breathe in and out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. All right. Let's start lifting up one heel at a time. So we're going up onto the toes and back down. Remember, you can be seated or standing, whatever you are most comfortable with. We're just lifting up one heel at a time. Now, as we do that, we're going to take one hand, and your one hand is going to make a circle. So draw a circle. Excellent. And your other hand is just going to reach forward and back. Forward and back. So you can start off as slow as you'd like. Find a balance between this is challenging, but also doable. So if getting everything moving at the same time is too challenging, it's not at all doable, then you've got to pull it back a little bit. Maybe you're only moving your hands and you let your feet rest. Okay, maybe you get your feet moving and just focus on the circle. So find the line between challenging yet doable. And we're just gonna switch arms. Now your other hand draws the circle and that other hand reaches forward and back. Now I know I'm giving you a lot of tasks right at the start. But remember, with all the things you're thinking about, I still want you to maintain your breathing pattern. So keep breathing in, out through pursed lips. Good. That's it. Looking good, everybody. All right. Now, if you can, we're going to start lifting up that full foot. And now what we're going to do is we're going to make circles with both hands. 1, 2, 3, forward. So circle 1, 2, 3, push your hands forward. Circle 1, 2, 3, forward. 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 And now whatever direction you're making the circles in, change directions to 3, and now you're going up. So 1, 2, 3, up. 1, 2, 3, up. 1, 2, 3, up. 1, 2, 3, up. Good. 1, 2, 3, up. 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 Good. All right. Well done, everybody. To change up our pattern a little bit. Again, make sure you're sticking to your breathing pattern. Keep breathing out through pursed lips. That's going to help reduce being short of breath. So now we're going to just stick forward your heel. So step your heel forward on the ground in front of you. I want you to just take your arms, bend from the hips, and just kind of sweep your hands. Okay, and then you're going to bring that foot back in, step out your other foot. Sweep and back. Now the sweep is not rounding through the back. I keep the head and chest up. That's how you know you're going just through the hips and sweep. Step, sweep, step, sweep. And you should feel a little bit of a stretch through the back of your leg. And if you don't, that's okay too. Don't try to push it to where you feel the stretch. Just enjoy being flexible. Well done. You succeeded. If you don't feel a stretch, you've got looser hamstrings than I ever will. Good. So step, sweep. Keep the chest up. Step, sweep. Step, sweep. Step, sweep. Step, sweep. Good. Step, sweep. Step, sweep. Step, sweep. There we go. Just a couple more here. Especially if you're standing, think about sticking your bum out behind you. That's again another cue that you're moving from your hips rather than from your lower back. Good. All right, now pause there. We're now going to get our leg up and out to the side and bring it back in. Now that's different than just tapping my toe out to the side. I'm taking my whole knee, opening up through the hip and bring it back in. Now we're actually going to slow this down. You can have your hands on your hips. You can have them across. You can have them here, whatever you'd like. The goal is only this leg moves. So we're not getting a bunch of movement through our body. We're tightening, the leg moves open, comes back in, and everything was strong and stable. Let's do 10. So open, 1, 2. And I like to have my hands here because it tells me if I'm shifting. 3, 4. And really feel what your body's doing. 5. I find it helpful to push down into the ground with the non-moving leg. 6, 7, 8. Good. 9, 10. Switch sides. Other leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Excellent job, everybody. 10. Good. Feel free to wiggle it out. Excellent. All right. Now we're taking our foot, touching the toes across the other leg. Okay, so you just touch across. And wherever that cross is for you, don't feel like you have to reach over. Just touch a little bit across your body with your toes. I don't want any pulling in your back. So if you feel like it is tugging on the back, then just keep the step a little bit smaller. Okay. Good. Now, as we do that, my one leg reaches across, opposite arm reaches. So it's like your arm and leg are reaching towards each other. Or like you're making an X with the two limbs. Find the visual that works for you and stay there. If I keep giving visuals, don't let yourself get confused if something already worked for you. There we go. So we cross over. We're maintaining our breathing pattern. So breathing out through pursed lips. Excellent job, everybody. Cross and reach, cross and reach, cross and reach, cross and reach. Excellent. Maintain your breathing pattern. Good. And rest. Now grab a sip of water, especially if you've got one close by. I'm trying to get better at cueing you guys to drink water. Especially as it gets hotter out, my goodness. All right, we're gonna go again in 10 seconds. And this time you're either touching across, opposite hand and knee, or trying to touch elbow to knee. It doesn't mean you're actually trying to touch because I don't want anyone rounding through the back, but that does make it harder to do. Ready? Let's go. So elbow to knee as best you can, or hand to knee, touching across. We're going to go for a minute. So we've moved right into some cardio intervals. And I know I haven't been giving you guys much rest throughout warm up, but we're going to work for a minute, rest for 30 seconds. So much fun. Remember, your first goal is to just be able to keep moving for the minute. So find something that is challenging but doable for you. Remember, the point of cardio intervals is to get your heart rate up, is to get you panting a little bit. So being a little huffing and puffing a little bit is good. Just make sure you can maintain taking a full breath and you keep breathing out through pursed lips. And rest. So we got 30 seconds. Super fun. We're going to do each movement twice just to get really good at it, okay? Good. So really bring your heart rate down. Gives you a chance to assess, okay, did I work hard enough? Did I work too hard? And am I feeling really puffed? Right? Find that balance. And let's go again, 1 minute. Good. Remember, try not to round through the back. Maintain your breathing pattern as best you can. Even if you start huffing and puffing a little bit, your exhale through pursed lips can sound like a okay, until it starts to slow down. And of course, I'm overemphasizing the noise. Okay, you're almost there, gang. Well done. Brilliant. 3, 2, and rest. So this is where we work hard to bring your heart rate back down, your breathing back under control. Okay, so the next movement, gang, is now we're progressing a little bit. We're kicking a leg and touching forward. So you kick your leg and touch across. Kick your leg, touch across. 3, 2, 1, go. And I want you to focus more on the kick. So try to extend that leg out in front of you. If you're standing, think about swinging it up. Can you get to hip height? You need to get just a little bit below. Good. Maintain that breathing pattern. You are halfway through the interval. Kick, kick, kick. I hope you guys got the memo that we're actually doing a kickboxing theme today. So get ready. 10 seconds left. Maintain your breathing. You got this. I know it's really hard, and rest. I've got you using your whole body so far on the first couple intervals. You're doing excellent. So again, 30 seconds of rest. Woo. Yeah, that's the goal, right? That's really, really good. Especially doing those 2 movements back to back. And remember, we're repeating that same movement before we change it, okay? So we're 3, 2, and kick. Last minute of kicking. Great job, everybody. There we go. Maintain your breathing. You're past the halfway point. So keep kicking, keep breathing. Got 15 seconds left. You got this. Excellent work. 3, 2, and 1. Whoo! So just so you know, your next one, we're going to get your, if you're seated, we're going to get your knees apart a little bit. And I want you reaching forward as far as you can while keeping your chest up. I don't want you rounding your back to reach forward. I want that back straight. So you reach down, reach up, reach down, reach up. Ready and go. Reach down, reach up. Remember, it doesn't have to be a big movement. It can be just that smaller rock, but if you keep your chest and head up, that'll help prevent you from getting dizzy from the change in movement. But again, I'm demonstrating right now where you don't have to go far at all. Reaching about an inch, or you can go further down. Again, find that challenging but doable line. That overhead is going to work you really hard, so you don't have to bend over too far. Just keep breathing, just keep breathing. 15 seconds. Good. And rest. 30 seconds here. Remember that recovery position is hands or forearms on your thighs. Head and chest is up. This does help you open up your airways. Remember, we're going to repeat that movement. How did everybody feel with that movement?
I like it.
You like it? I see a thumbs up. Good.
It was
I don't see
easier.
any thumbs down.
Before.
Yeah. And we're repeating it. Let's go. Down and up. Down and up. And if that bending over at all, if it's uncomfortable for any reason, just focus on the arms pressing up and down. And get the arms all the way down. So there's different ways to do this. And again, if you're finding yourself needing more rest time, please take it. This is your exercise class. Take charge, do what you need to do, and ask me for support along the way, and I'm super happy to give it. Keep breathing out through pursed lips. You've got 10 seconds left. Excellent. Brilliant. And rest. I said 10 seconds and we went for 20.
Oh,
You were just doing so great. I couldn't help myself.
Cheating.
Remember that recovery position. Remember to breathe out through pursed lips. I'm working up a sweat. How about you guys?
me too.
There we go. That's always fun. Feels good to sweat. Okay, gang, we got one last exercise. So that means 2 intervals. And all we're going to do is we're going to get your leg moving. And I just want you tapping your leg out to the side. So it's an out, in, out, in. Halfway through the interval, I'll get you to change. Okay, ready, steady, let's go. So it's out and in with just that one leg, even if it just taps a little bit. And the goal is how many steps can you take? All right. If you got sliding floor, you can slide your foot if you prefer that. But stepping, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. How many steps can you get in? Got a couple more seconds left. 3, 2, and change. How many steps can you get in? If you're doing this standing, I highly recommend you bend your knees a little bit. Or that stable position. You're almost there, gang. Step, 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 step. 3, 2, and rest. Got our 30 seconds. We're going to repeat that one last time, and then we're done with our cardio intervals. Yay! Got some more fun things planned for you today.
I like the cardio.
Don't be concerned, just be excited. Cardio's good. Okay, we're doing this one last time. 3, 2, 1, step. That's it. Step, 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 step. Excellent. Keep breathing out through pursed lips. There we go. Great job, gang. Great job. And change. Other leg stepping out and in, out and in. How many steps can you get in this time? So if you need to go slower, feel free to step out a little bit further. If you're keeping it tighter, I'd like to see you stepping a little quicker. And you've got about 10 seconds left. There we go. Step, 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 step. And rest. Now, did you find one leg was easier to coordinate those steps than the other?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a little bit of a coordination exercise too, which is really good for you. Now, make sure you get a sip of water. We're going to have a longer rest now. Great job, everybody. How's everybody feeling so far? Nice.
Bit breathless.
Little bit breathless. So take some extra time, get into that recovery position. Really think about blowing out those birthday candles.
Just take our breath away, Jill.
I get that a lot. Any questions at this point? Like I said, we're going to make sure everyone fully recovers their breathing before we get into the strength portion, because that rest time is very, very important. So if you've got a question, now is the perfect time to ask away.
I'm noticing my recovery time is getting better with these classes.
There you go. That's awesome, Rick. Really good. Yeah, that's one of the benefits. Sometimes it's not always the breathlessness and your lung capacity. Sometimes just how quickly you can recover with a short rest. And that's really good as well. Okay, gang. This next one, you can use a weight to make it harder, but my goal is to make it hard enough that you don't need a weight. So just bear that in mind, okay? But as always, there's different ways to increase intensity, and a weight is one of them. So if you are going to stay seated for this exercise, I'm just going to ask that you turn sideways in your chair or with a leg back, or just drop a leg underneath your chair, just like we do for that stretch position. And then you're going to press both your front foot and your back toes into the ground, and you should feel your thighs, those thigh muscles, your quads fire up. If you are standing, up we go. We're going to be standing up. I'm going to demonstrate behind my chair because I would like you using it as a little bit of balance support. If you feel like you need to grip onto it though, then you should be doing this seated. If you can stand and do this following exercise with just kind of fingertips, balance support, then you can do it standing. Now, we're going to have one foot back. So our feet are staggered, and we're going to squat down. Most of the weight on that front leg. So don't get here, get here. And if you need to offload some pressure off the knees, just stick your bum out. So you bend forward that little bit. And we're going to hold here. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and up. We're going to do this 5 times. Down. And if you're seated, this is where you would push your leg into the ground. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, and up. That's 2. And down. hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and up. And down. 1,
Is the
2.
heel of your right leg on the floor?
It is not.
Okay,
It is up. Thank you for that clarification. You could, the reason we don't keep our heel on the ground with this is because then the flexibility of your calf limits your range of motion. You'll find you won't be able to go very far because that's tight. The moment you lift your heel up, you're able to go down further.
That's exactly what happened to me. I couldn't figure out why I wasn't feeling it in my quad. But I
Yeah,
couldn't,
thank you for pointing that out. I didn't realize the camera angle didn't quite, the shadowing didn't quite realize that, but the back heel is lifted up for sure. Thank you, thank you. And you should have been holding that whole time. Well done. And last one. This is either 5 or a bonus one. The win-win either way. So hold, 2, 3, 3.5, 3 3/4, 4, 2, 3, and 5. Up, switch legs. Now your other leg goes back. And once again, heel is up. Your front foot, full foot is on the ground. And does that make it better to see me?
yes.
Brilliant. There we go. Okay, and down. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5. Up. That's 1. And down. So again, most of the weight is on that front leg. 2, 3, 4, 5. Press through your feet to come back up. And down. 2, 3, 4, 5. Up. And down. 2, 3, 4, 5. Up. And down. 2, 3, 4, 5. And up. Okay. So now what I'd ask you to do is you're going to grab your weight or whatever it is that you're using for a weight. I will show you how to do this seated, but first let me show you the standing version. Standing version, you can either go off the back of your seat or the seat. The difference is how flexible your upper back is. If reaching this far down, you feel like your back is rounded, or if you look at your video on your screen, if you can see your video, I don't want that back rounded, I want the chest up. And sometimes it's limiting. If the back of your leg is really tight, you won't be able to get to this posture because that tightness wants you to do this. So that's why you can get your hand up a little bit higher so you're not bent over as far. Okay, but the movement regardless is the same. All we're doing is pulling the elbow up till you feel that tightening in the back of your shoulder blade. And I'll go down lower so you can actually see me. You pull that elbow up. Now, what I want you to be cautious of is if you lift as high as you can, that shoulder is going to rotate forward. I don't want that. I want you pulling everything up. You should feel that tightening kind of at the back of your armpit, back of your shoulder blade. And if you have a quick look, your shoulder isn't rotated forward. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
More or less. Just do your best. So you pull it straight up. You should almost feel like your chest pushes forward as you pull it up. Okay. Now, if you're seated, you can do the same thing one of two ways. And if you want to go ahead and start, get between 10 and 20. So you can lean forward, got to be on the outside, and just pull up. and down. If bending forward is sore on your back, be here and you can pull straight up and it won't go very far. And that's okay. You just go to where the muscle tightens up, pause, and back down. Pull up and pause, and back down. So you'll notice from this seated position, I'm not lifting it up very far. Again, if I lift it up too far, my shoulder has to rotate forwards. So it's just sliding it up my body, pause. I feel that tightening in the back of my shoulder blade, and back down. Good. So again, can we get to 10? This is one where I don't tend to count out for you because there's so much demonstration, because I really want you to get the proper movement that I don't really care how many you do. Sometimes it's more important to get the right movement, so when you're on your own, you know what to look for. Good. And let's go ahead and just change hands. So again, that seated version, you can be up tall and just lift that way until you feel that tightening of the muscle. Good. And so to think of it a different way, how far you move a weight isn't as important as the tightening of your muscle. If you feel the correct tightening of your muscle, it doesn't matter that I've not lifted the weight very far. I'm strengthening because I can feel the right muscles working. Oftentimes going further just means your body has had to compensate somehow. Good. So we're lifting up, pause, and down. Lifting up, pause, and down. Lifting up, pause, down, pause, and rest. Good. All right, third movement in this series. If you're seated, feet are wide apart. We bend forward just a little ways, just to where you feel there should be either a stretch through those inner thighs, those are your adductors, or through the front of your hips. And then we're coming up, lifting the weight to the chest and pressing the weight up overhead to wherever you can, and bring it back down. Now, from this position, bent forward, you can only come up by clenching your glutes. So we've mentioned before about crushing a walnut between your bum cheeks. Sounds really silly, but boy, is it a good visual for getting you to fire up those glute muscles to pull yourself back up and reduce the workload of your lower back. Now, if you're standing, it's the same thing. You get your bum out behind you, your knees can bend a little bit, but you want your shoulders over toes. The back is flat because I've got my chest up. And then you clench your glutes hard to pull yourself back up. You bring the weight to your chest and then up overhead, which I know you couldn't see that weight, but that's okay. There, so seated or standing, forward, pull. And again, be very purposeful with this movement. Lean forward, keep the chest up, and really feel your glutes doing the work to pull yourself back up. It can also be helpful to push your feet into the ground. Once you're down, and push your feet into the ground. You should feel those muscles fire. Let's do 5 more. So 5, up and up. And actually, this is for, we're going to repeat this. So let me show you the breathing pattern. You can breathe in and then breathe out to come up. Breathe in to bring the weight to your chest. Breathe out to bring the weight up. Breathe in. Breathe out. 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 Last one. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. And rest. Brilliant job, everybody. And shake out your hands. Feel free to grab a sip of water. Good. How are we doing, gang? Brilliant. Brilliant. I've been watching everybody's form as closely as possible, you know, based on the restrictions of how much of your body I see in your picture. But it's looking very, very good, very controlled. And it's so important to do a movement, I don't want to say correctly, but with purpose, and really think about what you're doing and how you're moving. And it really looks like you are all doing that. So well done. Very, very well done. I hope you're enjoying the learning along with the exercise. It's always my goal to empower you to be able to exercise on your own as well and feel confident and comfortable doing that. So we did 3 exercises. We're going to repeat them. Do you remember what the first one is? Uh-oh. It's okay because it was a new one. It was with our feet staggered. So if you're in a seated position, you drop your leg back, or you can turn sideways. Your feet are like this. And if you're standing, up we go.
Oh, right.
That's right. So 1 foot in front of the other. Back heel is lifted up. All right, and we're squatting down. And we're holding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up and down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And up. Down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Up. And down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up. And down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up, I believe that's 4. Down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up. Switch legs. It's a fun one today, guys.
Yeah.
And the reason I've got you holding is because remember, the longer we keep a muscle under tension, the intensity increases. So if you don't feel like you can get down very far, that's okay. Just go to where you feel that bit of tension in your thigh and hold. Okay, so we're going down, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, and up. Down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up, that's 2. Down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up, down, 2, 3, 4, 5, and up. Last one, down. 2, 3, 4, 5, and up. Good. So now it's grabbing your weight. And again, I gave you all the cues previously. So the goal is just to have your chest up. And we're going to pull. Ready? Pull, pause, and down. Oops, and I need to go lower so you can actually see me. There we go. So pull, pause, down. We're aiming for that tightness in the back of your shoulder blade. Pull, pause, down. Pull, pause, down. Pull, pause, down. Pull, pause, down. Pull. Remember, it's helpful to breathe out as you pull up, down. Pull, pause, down. Pull, pause, down. Pull, pause, down. Pull, pause, down. Make sure your chest is up, gang. Try to flatten out your backs. Pull, pause, down. Pull, pause, down. Switch arms. Good. And pull, pause, down. 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 2 more. Pull, pause, down, and pull, pause, down. Rest. Great job, team. Remember the last exercise?
Yep.
Yeah, the bending forward. And doing it properly, we can do it very safely. All right, so we're bending forward, even just a little ways. Most important part is clenching those glutes to get yourself up. Bring the weight up overhead. Encourage you to keep your elbows tucked in overhead as well. I know it feels tight to do that. That is good. So up, try to keep those elbows tucked in, not flared out. Good. It's down, clench those glutes, pull yourself up and up. Good. Forwards, clench the glutes. Again, you should feel those glute muscles tighten up. The visual of crushing a walnut between your bum cheeks is a good visual. It does help, as silly as it sounds. Good. Breathe out. Lift up. Last one, team. Forwards a little ways. Glutes tight and up. Good. All right, put your weight down. Shake out those arms and legs. There we go. I always like to just get everything moving a little bit. Shake off the fatigue from the strength training, because the goal of those exercises, your muscles should be feeling fatigued. They should have felt fatigued during the exercise, even if it was close to the end. If they were not feeling fatigued, that's your cue that it wasn't intense enough for you. Okay? And that doesn't mean that you should feel wiped out. It should just feel like your muscles were doing work. Okay? All right, it's stretch time. You made it. Woo! Let's lift up that elbow, gently press it back. And actually, I just want to follow up on what I just said, where I said, if your muscles didn't feel like they were doing some good work, they're feeling a bit tired. And I said, that means you should probably increase the intensity. That can look like a greater range of motion. So for example, in the squats, you squat deeper, that's the greater range. That can look like using a heavier weight. That can look like more time under tension. So when I mentioned we were in a split squat today, right? The feet apart. And I said we're holding, we did 5 seconds with the muscle working, being under tension, we call it. Switch. So you can always increase that time to increase the intensity. Okay. Now again, cool down is the perfect time to ask any questions at all. Always fun learning together as well as exercising together.
So if you're doing a sit-up, your maximum ab work would be like from 45 to 90, not 180.
That's correct.
So about 45 to 90 is where you're going to get your most benefit.
Honestly, where the most benefit is in a sit-up is actually just and if you guys all reach your arms away from each other and keep the breath going, I'll demonstrate even from the chair, because the goal of a sit-up, and pretend I'm laying down, right? So this would be laying down. If you're right, here is more tension than here. But people's hip flexors, the front of your hips, those muscles tend to do a lot of work in a sit-up. So it's actually pretty recommended if you start with just imagining, so you can all feel where your ribs are, right? The base of your sternum. And if you think about trying to lift your sternum up and your shoulders just up slightly and then hold for 5 seconds. And you know you're doing it properly if you can engage those muscles from a seated position. So if from this seated position, you can think about your sternum and shoulders just lifting off the ground slightly and you feel that tension, and I've barely moved, that's how you know you've got the correct muscles. Does that make sense, Rick?
Yeah. Because I'll sit in a chair and not go to the full back, and then I'll come up.
So that's perfect, because you're actually able to maintain what's called a neutral spine. So where we're not letting our spine extend or flex, you're able just to keep everything stacked and lean back. So this is where the ribs and hips, you don't want them coming closer together. You don't want them extending apart. You want to keep them stacked over top of one another. So your core is fired up, hold, and then you come back up.
So those are okay to do?
Absolutely. And those are great to do because you're actually preventing yourself from falling backwards.
Yeah.
So it makes it a better core exercise rather than a spinal flexion exercise. And it's really that strong. Yeah, that's a good idea. Sorry, I hope you all switched arms. Did we?
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you there.
Good.
Yes. Which
I'm
ones?
assuming, okay, good. When half of you still went, I assumed that maybe you didn't switch. Let's get your leg out in front of you, reach towards your toes. Thank you for your patience, everybody. Because like I said, I love the learning that comes along with exercising with you guys. So if you've got any other questions, please ask away.
Isn't sit-ups, the old way of doing sit-ups, not really recommended anymore? It's more crunch or like you just did, and a dead bug or lying on your back or leg raises or something.
Exactly. Yeah, there's still some controversy where some people will make the argument that you should be strong in any movement. But if your goal is to strengthen your core, sit-ups, especially the old way of doing them, is not accomplishing that goal. Switch legs. And so what the research is mostly showing is that the average person, it's not recommended to do a bunch of sit-ups. One, because the technique isn't usually done correctly. And two, it's just a lot of stress in spinal flexion without strengthening the rest of the core. So it's not to say, I don't like to call a movement, any movement, a bad movement. But like anything, if it's done too much and without anything to balance it off, then it's not really, the risk outweighs the benefit. I hope that makes sense. And really the function of your core, everybody, a lot of people think of their core as just their abs, their abdominals, but really your core is the tube, your front and the back and the side muscles that surround the spine. And the function of your core is to keep a stiff spine through all your movements. So it's all about control. Are you able to control what's happening at your spine while you do other movements? And so if you're trying to strengthen your core and you do old school sit-ups where you're just flexing at the spine, that's not maintaining a stiff, unmoving spine throughout movement. Let's drop a leg back behind us. Any questions, more questions on that line? You guys have great questions today.
Well, when I do that, I actually twist one side and then the other side. So it keeps my, like you say, I start engaging the sides and everything, because that's where I'm trying to lose girth.
Yeah, so I would just really strongly encourage you to just do it slowly, keep in control. Because that's where you're going to get the most benefit of you staying in control and feeling the muscles working. Switch legs. Because again, it's all about control of any sort of movement. And then actually on that note, for anybody that has osteoporosis in your spine, different than osteoarthritis, osteoporosis, it really is recommended that you be very cautious about any movement in your spine. So any rotation, twisting, any bending forward at your spine, it's highly recommended you be very, very cautious, because osteoporosis is that reducing, that decreased bone density. So your bones are a bit weaker. So you got to make that consideration. Okay, rest that leg there. Let's end with 2 rounds of our breathing pattern. I'm going to count out a 3-second inhale, 4-second exhale. I'm going to have my elbows tucked in and I'm going to open up my arms. Feel free to just keep your hands on your belly. Feel free to have a longer or shorter breathing pattern. Ready? Breathing in. 2, 3, out. 2, 3, 4. Breathe in. 2, 3, out. 2, 3, 4, and shake it out. Well done, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Jill.
Thank you,
as I
Jill.
did.
Thank you, Jill. See you Thursday.
Thank you, Jill.
That sounds wonderful.